today a co-host for the first time on Lenny Solomon Live. Lenny
And I'm
Solomon
Etan
Live.
G.
It's Etan G, the Jewish rapper, ladies and gentlemen.
In the house, ladies and gentlemen. In the house.
It's unbelievable. I decided last minute, let's try to do something different for today. You know, we're supposed to do a question and answer session where people write in their questions and I answer. And usually people write in, but they write in after the show's over, and then I got to save it for next time. But this time I figure now I got you as my co-host.
We can answer those questions.
Yes, and we could talk about the days that were.
Be someday.
I want to do a deep dive into the origins of Etan G joining the band and the impact of Rabbi Itchy Lowenbrown on Shlock Rock. What do you think about that?
I think it's great. I think that people should know.
So the people should know, because the thing is, when Shlock Rock started out, we were very controversial. Isn't that right, G?
Well, I had no problem with it.
No, you never have problems with controversy.
No, I do not.
But people didn't understand what Shlock Rock was all about. They didn't understand what are we doing? Is it just rock and roll with Jewish words because we want to play rock and roll? Is it, blaspheme? You cannot blaspheme.
I think what it was, and what many people didn't understand, particularly at the time, was that Rabbi Lowenbrown and NCSY and Seaboard Region, when you started out, where you were the house band, where I was a kid just coming to Shabbatons, was an environment of Jewish education and kiruv and just being proud to be Jewish. That was the foundation with which it was all built on. And of course, music, particularly in the 80s, played a huge, huge role in everybody's lives all over the world, particularly in America, that we were listening to those songs on my boom boxes and all that stuff. And to take those regular songs and make them, now they're Jewish education, was for us, the kids, now we can integrate the both worlds and elevate the secular music that we were listening to. There are a lot of songs that we would come up with that were shtick, that were never recorded by Shlock Rock, but used to sing at Shabbatons. You played them.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Now, I want to tell you something. We got to set the stage. Which is back. Let's set the year. What year are we talking about? 1983, 84, 85, 86.
My first Shabbaton was February of 1984, and it was senior midwinter at Host Farms, Pennsylvania. And it was my first Shabbaton, and Chucky Epps was my roommate, and Shlomo Horowitz was our advisor in the room.
Right, and these are all people in the Shlock Rock Hall of Fame. All people in the Shlock Rock Hall of Fame. And Chucky Epstein, of course, was the drummer for 4 songs on Learning is Good. He was also the drummer on Songs of the Morning on Shirei Boker. And he basically is a Baltimore, he was a Baltimore kid, and he was your roommate. And I remember my first remembrance of Etan G is you're carrying around this humongous boombox and breakdancing everywhere. That's what you would do. That's who you were.
That is 100% correct.
And so when Etan G heard us and when we met Etan G, eventually it got to the point where you joined the band. Eventually.
That was already probably almost just a decade later, maybe a decade later.
Yes, it was. But you, just for the audience who have never met Etan G, which is impossible. If you are a Shlock Rock fan, you of course have met Etan G. You have played more shows with me than anybody else, and we have traveled the world together.
Yeah, I'm
We
sure
have
that
been
is.
in we have been in England. We have been in
We've
all
been
over.
Canada. We've done
Yes,
Mexico. We've done all over the UK. I mean, it was great times
yes, and we're not talking in past tense because it's over. We're just talking in past tense because
of the stories. Sure.
we are in the middle of COVID-19, and we have to do
Remember that
something.
song Vietnam 19 by Paul Hardcastle? In Vietnam, he was 19. 19.
No, I don't. I actually don't know that song. Believe it or not.
Oh, great song.
Anyway, so Rabbi Lowenbrand, getting back to Rabbi Lowenbrand, he was the one that understood the power of schlock rock. He was the one that understood that this music had a place at his region in NCSY and Seaboard region. He was the one that understood that you could use rock and roll, put Jewish words to it, and have a great positive impact to Jewish kids everywhere.
Absolutely. It was an unbelievable thing. And what was amazing was I got it from both sides. I got it, what I saw I saw what Chucky got and what Shlomo when he would go to the stage. And Chucky at the time, when I first met him, was a guitar player.
Right. He was playing
He
guitar.
didn't play the drums at that point.
Nope.
He only picked it up a short time later. Chucky and I, after that Shabbaton, became best friends for life to this day. And we still rip on each other just as we did our very first day of meeting. He tells the story of how when he first met me on the bus that was going to the Shabbaton, how I had my denim jacket on, rock and roll. I had a boom box, and I was playing Def Leppard's Pyromania album. It was a great album.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And everybody was getting off the bus, but it was taking long for everybody to get off the bus. Can you get off the bus? So what do? Because I'm about getting the job done.
You jump out the window.
That's exactly what I did. I slid the window open, and I went right through the window, and that was it. And Chucky tells to this day that he was scared of me.
And you were his roommate.
And then we go in to get our cards from the table, and I walk in, and he's... But I saw how the bands were, loading in, the loading out, the hang afterwards while everybody's going off to sessions. The band guys got to hang out. They got to eat first or eat later, but it was their own little group. And I loved that dynamic. And that was something, I got into just by schlepping drums or carrying the equipment. Hey, Lenny, can I carry your amp? That kind of stuff. I enjoyed being around that. And so for me as a 14-year-old kid, nobody knew that it was going to be a career or anything like that. I just like not having to do what everybody else did.
Yep. And we got a comment here. How about Deal, New Jersey? Well, we've played Deal, New Jersey many, many times. The Syrian Jewish community in Deal.
You can find all the tour dates on JewishRapper.com and SchlockRock.com.
That's right. On SchlockRock.com, we have a discography, which is every album ever released, and every show that we've done since 1987. So the first show was in September of 87, and Schlock Rock became a living, or it became my career, my full-time career, already January 88, where we did 100 shows a year for 8 years. Now, Etan G joins the band sometime in 92, I believe it was, 92, 93.
Well, it depends how you define joining the band.
Well, I'm going to say that road trip that we did to San Antonio, Las Vegas, and Dallas. Was that it? Was that? I think you're freezing. You might have frozen, G. Are you frozen? I think you might want to exit and come back, and I'll put you back on. Yep. I think you're frozen. But anyway, I'll just continue talking. We're here at the Four Corners Project studio doing a little co-host with Etan G, who has just gone into the land of the frozen. Etan G, of course, the Jewish rapper, and he's released 2 albums, one called South Side of the Synagogue and the other one called Foundation. You can go to JewishRapper.com and you can see it all. And
Um,
oh, I hear you now. You're back. You're back, Etan G. You froze.
Yeah.
Are you there? No, you're still freezing. I think you should exit and come back. I think you should exit and come back. And I'll put you back on. Give that a shot. Same link.
You hear me?
No, you're back now, but you're going in and out.
Can you hear me?
You're going in and out. You're freezing a little bit.
Interesting.
Which I'm not really sure why.
I don't know what's going on.
Is it your internet connection? Is it your bandwidth or is it my bandwidth?
I don't know. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you now. But now you're freezing. Your pictures.
My apologies. I don't know. I'll figure it out later.
Well, the question is, will you continue to freeze? That's the question.
Who knows?
What?
Freeze frame. So I don't know that there was ever an official period of time where I joined a band. There are all little things that I was doing. First, there was when we wrote Akash Beyosh, and then I'd come up and perform it on the stage. When we did Watch This Way, and I'd come up and perform it on the stage. There was all the NCSY stuff. Then there was in my college years when we did Sergeant Schlacker Magical History Tour, and we did the artwork for it, the cover. That we did that, and you called me in, and we went into the studio. I was in New York. Then we shot, and then we recorded the song, and I did the beginning of it for you, if you remember.
Right.
Because whether I was ready or whether you felt I was ready to actually rap on anything it was just, let's get him on and see what he can do. Then,
yeah.
And then maybe a year or two later, I'm saying summer of 92, maybe, I'd finished college, and you had called me and said, listen, we need another rap song for this album. Bring back that Shabbos feeling. And I remember the discussion we had. I was sleeping on somebody's couch that summer or whenever it was. And you and I were talking on the phone, and we said, okay, what are we going to write about? And I said, well, we did bless on it. We made the Kiddush. And then we washed this way, where we learned how to wash your hands. Right. I said, well, the next step was making the motzi. And if you remember, at the time, there was a song by Chris Cross called Jump. The Mac Daddy make you jump, jump. Chris Cross will make you jump, jump. And they had a thing in there that went, and there's the Miggity Mac Daddy, and the Miggity Mac Daddy, jump, jump. And so I said, why don't we do a song about making the motzi? Ooh, that's good. And you told me to start writing it, and then I'll come to your house and we'll get it done. And I still have, and I posted, I think, on my Instagram at The Jewish Rapper. I found those original lyrics. You could see what I had written and brought to you, and then you helped me finish the last of the third paragraph. And we sat in your apartment in Queens.
Yes. Now, what's very interesting about that is then you put it on eBay and sold the original lyrics for $1.3 million, just like John
McCartney.
What's his? No, the guy who wrote American Pie. Dan McLean. Don McLean. He sold it for he wrote the original paper, which has his scratchings where he's changing lyrics. He sold it for $1.3 million.
Wow.
Now, I don't think we're going to be making a motzi for 1.3 mil.
You never know. Do not be a sayer.
I'm not saying nay. I'm not saying nay.
Not saying nay.
Wait, before we continue, we're halfway through our interview. I just want to let's do a little bit of a commercial here, because the thing is, we have gone through many evolutions through the years. Of course, we had Schlock Rock has released 39 albums, and because of the change in the music industry, we became a not-for-profit organization called the Four Corners Project. And here I am in Beit Shemesh, Israel, fourcornersproject.org, www.4cornersproject.org, informal Jewish education through music and media. So important. Yes, we made it formal. Yes, it's a not-for-profit organization, but it's very, very important. The world has changed. We have to keep putting out content. We got to keep putting out albums, music videos, webisodes. These shows, they got to keep happening. So, Etan G, tell the people out there that they should be making a donation for the 40. We've already had over 42,000 people watch these shows. So tell the people out there that they should make a small donation for the year.
$42,000 available. Is that what you're telling me? 42,000 people watching? You say you had 42,000 people watching, so we should have $42,000 available, at least. Correct?
Oh, at least. Yes.
Right.
At least.
But we must continue the goal of Jewish education, Jewish unity, and Jewish continuity, especially now, where Jews are divided all around the world, separated all around the four corners of the world, and particularly in this climate where we really need to come together. Music bring the Jewish people together, but education of why we, the Jewish people, are supposed to be together. And that, Lenny, is what you're doing with the Four Project. It's an amazing thing. It's kind of like it's really what the message of Schlock has been for decades.
Exactly. And when the time, in the old days, back in the day, as you like to say back in the day, back in the day, Schlock Rock would sell product, and that would enable us to make more product. But nowadays, it's a little bit of a different story because the world has changed, and people just really get their content. They get their songs on YouTube. They get their songs on Spotify. They get their songs streaming. Jewish music does not have the audience to keep going, and therefore we had to become this 501c3 fourcornersproject.org. All right, let's get back to our interview. Let's jump ahead. So we are in the studio, and you did Make It a Motzi. Make It a Motzi was the first time that you actually, Be Good, Be Cool, Be Jewish. You did some stuff on Be Good, Be Cool, Be Jewish. Yes, that was a speaking part. But the first rapping stuff was you had Make It a Motzi. Then after Make It a Motzi, you had Recognize the Miracles. You did a little bit of Recognize the Miracles. We had a special project there. That was in 99. I'm just trying to think of, and then
but
in
that's already much later.
You had
by 92, if you remember, there was a gig. Really, my first official gig with you guys was, I believe, 91 or 92 at the Baltimore Arena, and it was a gig that you yourself couldn't make.
Correct. I was in South Africa. I was in Johannesburg. And Gary Wallen fronted the band, and you were the rapper and the energy, if you will, the energy.
I get on 3 rap songs we had at the time. I believe it was Wash This Way, Yo Yo Yarmulke, and maybe Bless On It. I don't know. We'd have to. I don't think Making a Motzi was even out then at that point.
Right.
And that was my first gig in front of 15,000 people. And you can only imagine being a young, 19, 20, 21-year-old kid, being in front of, that many people is intoxicating.
Yeah, it was. Listen, one of the greatest thrills of performing live in front of crowds of thousands of people. It's such a great thrill, and the people and the reaction and the energy that goes back and forth from the band to the audience and then back to the band. That's one of the things that has kept us going. I mean, it's just it's fabulous. It's
really true.
Fabulous.
It's really true. And then I don't know, because I hadn't moved to LA yet, and I believe that the tour that I did with you guys, that was my first show with you guys at the Baltimore Arena, and then the first tour that I did with you was with you and Yona and Chucky and Sack guy, a horn guy. We had gone to Vegas and San Antonio and Dallas, and that was officially my first tour.
and then you started doing every tour with us. I mean, you did
So,
every
but
tour
in
with
my
us.
life, on the side of that, so that tour may have been 93, maybe 94. I'd have to look at the website to see the dates, but I believe I had already moved to Los Angeles at that point. And that tour was great. It was great. And I wasn't on, if you remember, I wasn't on the whole show. You would just call me up. Hey, we have a
Right.
special guest here,
That's right.
Etan G, and I'd come on and
Right.
we do it. And I just let
Yes.
loose. It was the first time that I got on top of a stack of speakers
Which made
and
me
that I would
very
run around.
nervous. Very nervous.
That's right. But hey,
I was very nervous. I said, "Oh my
Etan
God,
G.
the people are going to go crazy. I'm going to get complaints. I'm going to have to do damage control." The famous damage control schlock rock line is the opinions of Etan G do not necessarily represent the opinions of schlock rock or the rest of the world.
That's
And
what
that
made it
usually,
so great.
uh, but anyway, at some point I realized that you should be on stage 24
So
the
you
entire
started
time.
flying me out.
Yeah.
I had opened up my restaurant in Palm Springs, and you
Yes.
started bringing me out on shows here and there to do with you. And a lot of the guys that were originally in the band were getting married, getting regular jobs, and that sort of thing. And I was still a lunatic, living life. And the you would start bringing me, and what it had evolved into was it was you and me, and then we would get musicians wherever we went.
It's true. And that was what that was. Yeah, we spent lots of times together, including all night drives. Etan G specializes in all night drives, which is good for me because I am not a great night driver. We're not going to
And
say I am
packing.
not a great right. Oh, and loading and unloading the vehicle. Etan G specialized in that,
And
and
tech.
right, and doing the sound. So
Yep.
that was the role that you fit into. It was perfect, and we went everywhere. We went to Virginia. We went to Atlanta and to
Been every state. Every
yeah. Schlockrock has played all 50 U.S. states. All 50 U.S. states, and I remember you and I, we did the 50th state, May 14th, 2014, Albuquerque, New Mexico. You remember that?
I not only do I remember it, but if you remember, brought along with us as a rookie, Rabbi John Gross from Omaha at the time.
Yes. Yes. So it might have been May 18th, actually. I don't remember. It was Lag BaOmer. It was Lag BaOmer.
Tour dates.
You
You
know,
look them all up. I have them all
somebody
organized.
comments. I got a comment coming in. When Lenny would
what do you
call
got?
up special guest Etan G, the crowd went wild. Yes, they did. But then we kept him on. We were so good. We kept you on the whole entire time because I'm really chained to the keyboard. As
Right.
the band leader, I'm fronting the band. I'm playing keyboard and I'm playing bass in my left hand and I'm singing and I'm conducting. I need somebody to be the energy man. And that's the role that you fell into.
But it was even more than that because the energy really got unleashed. I had to find places. Once you started having me on the show for the whole show, I had to find things to do because I'm not rapping the whole time. So I started doing backup with you. Okay, now I need a tambourine to kind of keep stuff busy, but I still had to be free
Right.
to dance and run
Right.
around on stage. So there had to be something for me to do in my mind for every single song, even if we did Rashi or Minion Man or something like that, and I would get the harmonica.
Right.
So I found little spots here and there for me to kind of plug into and just make the show or the song just a little bit more. And then, of course, when it was time to unleash the animal, you would say, let's do a rap. Boom! Let's get the party going.
That's right. That's what we do. And also, you ran into the crowd. You went into the crowd. You got them going. You got them dancing. Tu B'Shvat was one of our favorites where you used to lead them all in conga lines. Anyway, let's keep going to 2000. We have around 3-4 minutes left, and then we're going to wrap it up. I just want to say, then in 2001, you did "She Cries Out." "She Cries Out," which came out on the "She Cries Out for Our Children," right? With
Great song. That was a song that you had written everything, and you just say, Etan, come in and perform it.
That's right. And I got to tell you something interesting about. Do you know that tonight, right now, here in Israel, the 11th of Cheshvan, is Rachel Imenu's Yurtzeit?
Love it. Amazing.
And that's what we're here in this interview. And she cries out. I want to tell all the audience out there, if you have not heard Etan G's albums, South Side of the Synagogue, Foundation, also the album J-Rap City, which is a compilation of all of the Schlock Rock raps, which have on it some bonus tracks of Etan G. Also has on it 5 tracks, Redemption Time, Rhapsody for Jews, The Strings of Life, Tradition. We have stuff. It's really an amazing albums. These are amazing albums for those rap lovers, and everybody loves rap music nowadays. It's still going. I remember when it first came out, and we did "Bless On It," "Boogie in the Shul," the first one, and I can't believe it's still going, but it is. It's stronger than ever. It really is
stronger than ever. It was great. I remember "She Cries Out for Her Children," and I remember the discussion we had in the studio. There was different phrasing that you wanted, and there was this style that I was kind of going for as big at the time, and I was doing the 2 different styles. But the biggest sticking point that you and I had, which obviously I ceded to you because you're, of course, the boss, was the lyric that talks about Binyamin. I said, it's natural for me to say Binyamin. You said, no, nay. You must say Binyamin.
right.
That's what I did. That's what I ended up on it. But Lenny, it's Binyamin. No, for the album, for the song, Binyamin. Okay.
Because I saw that we had to switch our mivtah. We had to switch our accent from Yeshivish Ashkenazis to Ivrit. We had to do that because that's the way the world was going. I kind of said, in the beginning, I always say we had Kesher. Kesher was mainstream. Schlock Rock, when we started out, we were on the same stage with Avraham Fried. We were on the same stage with Miami Boys Choir. But then, all of a sudden, everybody moved either to the left or to the right, and Schlock Rock stayed in the middle. But I saw that we had to go, and we had to make an Israeli. We had to do the miftah of the people that really followed us, because the more yeshivish people went to the right, and I'm not going to say they stopped listening to us, because they still listened to us. They just didn't admit it, But we had to cater to those people who needed to learn, and Binyamin they wouldn't relate to, but Binyamin we had a shot, and that's
right.
What I thought.
So this is a point we could still debate.
Yes. We could still debate it, but I'm going to say at this point we've done 29 minutes, believe it or not, and it always flies. Whenever me and Etan G get on, we could talk for hours, but we still haven't
there's
talked
so much to tell. There's decades of material.
Yes, there is, and we have to talk about our all-night drives
those were fantastic. Is that now or for a different segment?
That we'll save it for another segment, but I want to tell all the people out there, Thursday night I'm going live again, doing a little Schlock Rock show for you guys. Show number 40, I think it's number 44 or 45. I can't remember. Not really that important, but everybody out there, schlockrock.com, jewishrapper.com. Also Etan G, just spend 30 seconds, tell us about Rock for Israel, about your
that's my baby. And the reason I started that baby is because you and I have spent decades on the road, and I love the road, and I love Israel, and I love music and rock musicians. And all the years with my work with you and as a solo artist, I've met so many great, unbelievable musicians that play for some of the hugest bands in the world. And whenever we're hanging out, I would always, because I'm the token Orthodox Jew, they would always say, well, why don't you just give the land away or make peace and blah, blah. I said, one day, guys, I'm going to figure out how to get you guys to Israel so you can perform there, meet artists there, see the land, and see it for yourself and make your own informed decision. And that is what Rock for Israel is. I bring the bass player from this huge rock band and the drummer from that huge rock band and the guitar player from that huge rock band. And I put them together like a super group, bring them to Israel, let them see the land, meet the people, eat the food, and play music and meet others, so there can be a dialogue. You know what I mean? And people can get to know each
Right,
other.
and I want
That's
you to
what
tell
Rock for Israel
the
does.
people, anybody who wants to sponsor a Rock for Israel or make a donation, all they got to do is get in touch with you. Tell them how to
Easy.
do that.
Rock.org. Rockforisrael.org. Just
There
go
we
there.
go.
It's all
Just like
available.
so that's right. So just like we have fourcornersproject.org, we have rockforisrael.org. Plenty of things for you guys to do. Keep informal Jewish music and informal everything, just great stuff for all of the people out there. Keep it going. Etan G, I want to thank you for coming on today's show.
My man.
It was fun. Last minute, I decided let's see what let's try doing a co-host thing. I think it worked out great. And we will do it again, maybe in a couple of weeks. We have to do part 2, segment 2 of Etan G.
And we're going to have the segment to be where your music and we talk about the different songs along the way.
All right, we could do that. I got the
Because there
keyboard
are
in the
many
background.
that played a role in my growth with Schlock and as a Jew. There's many.
You got it. I got the keyboard in the background. We could do it next time. Everybody out there, keep on schlocking. We'll see you Thursday night with another episode of Lenny Solomon Live, and talk to you soon.